Hi everyone, welcome back to WesKnows Tech News and Reviews. Today we'll be doing a heart rate accuracy test between the Huawei Watch Fit as well as the GTS2 Mini. Let's get into it. If you are new to WesKnows Tech News and Reviews, we talk about the latest tech news. We do brutally honest reviews and share hacks and tricks along the way. Right. So this heart rate accuracy test was actually performed on a squash court. So it's not the usual gym exercise or just a run. I was playing squash and I was doing the recording using the optical heart rate sensors on the back of these two smartwatches during the first 3 sets or the first 3 games. So luckily for us, there are over 95 sport modes on the Huawei Watch Fit, while on the Amazfit GTS2 Mini, there are over 70 sport modes. And yes, both of these smartwatches actually have the squash sport mode available. So I chose that, and as the benchmark for the heart rate was actually done by the Polar H10 ECG chest strap. So we all know that that chest strap is good enough for scientific studies as well as being used by professional athletes. So it does provide us with quite a bit of confidence. So anyway, how are we going to do this test? So we're going to be checking the accuracy by taking the heart rate plots from the back of these smartwatches, and we're going to stick these on top of the Polar H10 heart rate plots. And then we'll see where the differences are, what's actually going on. So before we get into the numbers, let's talk just a bit about these two smartwatches. So we know that the Huawei Watch Fit is basically the most basic smartwatch in the Huawei smartwatch range, while the Amazfit GTS2 Mini is also the most basic smartwatch in the Amazfit smartwatch range. Now on the Huawei, we've got a 1.67-inch display, an AMOLED display mind you, while on the Amazfit GTS2 Mini, we've got a 1.55-inch AMOLED display. The only difference as I see it in regards to the display is that the Huawei is a bit more elongated, while the GTS2 Mini is a bit more square. Sport modes, right, so we've got a bit more on the Huawei, so 95, and we've got 70 on the GTS2 Mini. Now in regards to functionality, well, we've got inbuilt GPS on the Huawei and we've got inbuilt GPS on the GTS2 Mini. Both of the smartwatches are waterproof. There are plenty of apps. Both of these smartwatches actually monitor your sleep, so your 3 sleep stages, your light, your deep and REM sleep. You also get recommendations when you do go to the app and you look at the more detail in regards to your sleep. You get stress monitoring. In fact, on both of these smartwatches, you get continuous stress monitoring. You also get your SpO2 reading, so your blood oxygen saturation. But if on the Huawei you get a continuous reading, which is much more useful than just spot, the Amazfit GTS2 Mini does offer just a spot reading or at a point in time. Now with the GTS2 Mini you do get the PI, which is the personal activity index, which is basically a single value which tells you all about your cardiovascular health. It takes into account your sleep, your steps, and the intensity at which you performed particular exercises. Now, to mix things up with the Huawei, you get a dedicated running app that can get you running no matter if you're a beginner or a professional. Then again, you do have a workout app on the Huawei which has 44 animated gestures, so you actually get to see how to perform a particular set of exercises. But on the GTS2 Mini you do get more apps, such as a world clock, a Pomodoro Tracker. Then of course there are breathing apps on both of the smartwatches. So we can see that in general these two smartwatches are very similar. They are the most basic in their ranges. They offer quite a lot of benefits, and really, but they can only be as good as you actually need them to be. So if you are very sporty, then let's take a look at the heart rate accuracy test. If you do require GPS, well, both of them have it, and I've got an earlier test of the GPS on these two smartwatches. Let's get into the numbers. Let's have a look at how these two smartwatches actually showed themselves while I was playing squash for 40 minutes. Let's get into the numbers. First of all, let's take a look at what the Polar H10 ECG chest strap actually showed us. So we can see that the average heart rate was measured at 147 beats per minute, while the max registered was 171 beats per minute. And we can see 3 distinct humps on the heart rate plot, because again, we had 3 games that I was actually recording with the smartwatches and the Polar H10. Now, first of all, let's take a look at what the Huawei Watch Fit has recorded. Straight away, I think we see an issue. The fact of the matter is, the first game was not registered at all. We can see just a flat line, and only as of the second game do we see the heart rate actually forming a hump, and then we see that the same thing for the third game. So for the first game, as well as the warm-up right at the start of the heart rate plot, the Huawei Watch Fit optical heart rate sensor just did not pick up the heart rate increase. And that's a problem. And that's what actually caused us having such a low heart rate average of just 129 beats per minute. And that does give us quite a massive variance. If we do look at the max though, it is off by just 2 beats per minute, giving us 169 beats per minute. So now let's take a look at what the Amazfit GTS2 Mini has actually recorded. So here the heart rate plot does look much closer to what was registered or measured by the Polar H10 ECG chest strap. We can see 3 distinct humps, and most of the trows were quite well traced. The peaks, well, slightly less accurate, but nonetheless we can see 3 distinct humps, and the tracing in general is quite good. Now, what we do notice in regards to the average heart rate is that the average heart rate recorded by the GTS2 Mini was 137 beats per minute, and that's 10 below the 147 as measured by Polar H10, while the max is the same as on the Huawei Watch Fit, which is 2 beats per minute lower than the one registered by Polar H10, so 169 beats per minute. And well, we can actually make out what has caused the lower average. We can see that the peaks of the heart rate humps are just not as well traced as the trows in comparison to the Polar H10, and that does give us these lower values, which does push the average down. In a way, it seemed like the Huawei Watch Fit needed some time to actually warm up and start showing the actual heart rate. Thank you for watching this comparison and accuracy test of the Huawei Watch Fit and the Amazfit GTS2 Mini. If you did find it useful, please give us a like, and if you want to see more of the same, please hit the red subscribe button below the video, and I'll see you in the next one.